welcome, Anders. Would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Well, first of all, thank you, Susan, for creating this space and for all your efforts from ICF. Well, I am a coach already I'm 10 years already in this journey. As always, I said, previous to my coaching life, I have another profession that is assistant engineer. So I came from more than 20 years in the IT industry, information technology industry, working in organizations, large organizations, and doing a lot of work in different areas. And as part of this journey, I become very familiar with artificial intelligence. So I consider myself knowledgeable in terms of using AI. And nowadays, my focus is on executive coaching, working with organizations, mostly in leadership development, team performance, and well-being at work.
Perfect.
Coming from Argentina, Latin America.
Brilliant. Well, and for our fireside chat today, we're having informal conversations, really, for reflecting on where we are as a profession. And so I'm wondering if you could share with us any observations you may have had where you've noticed technology, AI, and coaching and human connection, where you've seen a really good experience of those three things coming together in the profession.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I come from technology, so I started hearing about artificial intelligence in my, university time, a long time ago. But definitely what we call nowadays generative AI changed the game totally. And so, giving an answer to your question, it doesn't come easy because I realized myself that I need to educate again in terms of what AI can generative AI can do for a coaching practice. So it's in this year that I started taking trainings and educating myself on using generative AI. So in the second half, I start practicing or applying AI in different scenarios. And if I had to find one that resonates at least with me, that can be an example of the intersection of technology, coaching, and AI specifically, I will probably mention a project that I was running with a client with a C-level. And this client, we decided to, for this specific project, that was a team coaching project, apply several surveys. Once to run for the entire organization, once specifically for C-levels to assess skills or effectivity of the C-levels, and some other surveys. The result of that was, great and rich data. And every tool provides great reports. But the challenge of nowadays is executives doesn't have enough time. And they are struggling to process all the information and really get, conclusions of that. So understanding that this is part of the challenge, I decided to apply AI. And it was very valuable in that case to process and cross all the information and connect it with the profile, or let's say with each of the C-levels. One of the surveys was used for specifically to assess the C-level skills or effectivity in their leadership. So the AI was able to process all that data and create a personalized, summarized report for each one of the C-levels. And that was used to provoke a very reflective sessions. And it was really impactful how good was the report of the AI. I couldn't do it better than, and save a lot of time and help us, to create, sense of the data and allow each of these C-levels to connect with their coaching process and focusing on areas of opportunity for them. So that was, at least for me, a good example of the power of how we can use it to save time, to do a better job, and also serve our clients.
And I imagine with that C-suite, the insights would have been valuable to them as individuals, but then it would also have been valuable to them as a team.
Absolutely. And in this project, as I mentioned, it was a team coaching project. We have, work individually with each one of the C-levels, but also we work as a collective. And as part of the result of the AI was to create some collective, analysis and taking, verbatims of the, when people provide some comments to make a more clear understanding of just data, because usually these tools provide beautiful charts, we have metrics, but sometimes we need this double click, the comments of the people, or in this case of the employees of the company providing, it was a survey connected with the culture, provide really great verbatims. So yes, AI made that, beautiful connection. Yes, it was really a surprise, the level of, quality in the conclusions.
And people believe this to be emerging tech still, even though it's probably quite well established now. But as we experiment and learn with AI, what principles are you using, or do you guide you in keeping AI human-centered, ethical, and inclusive?
It's a great, great question. Well, again, as I mentioned, I come from technology space, and I truly believe in the power of transformation that the technology had from my early years. When I just started with computers without hard disk. That is my, connection with technology. And I spent more than 20 years in digital transformation. So I really believe in the power of technology. However, I consider technology as a tool, and a tool that need to be used in the benefit of the human beings. So from that perspective, I see this, the technology and the principle of using the technology in the right way connected with my core values, of how to engage and respect others. So from that perspective, I would say that the principles that guide the use of technology, in my case, is connected with, I'm aligned with my core values. In this case, I'm respecting, for instance, the code of ethics of ICF. As a coach, I comply with that. I commit to comply with that. However, we can see in the reality that it's not always there. The technology is not always applied in the right way. And when that happens, we have consequences. For me, it was shocking, I will say, when we hear about a company that was well-known case in 2018, I remember. That was, at that moment, that company was, Cambridge Analytica. And that was a clear example of how a powerful technology, used in the wrong way, can have an impact that nobody wants. The case of Cambridge Analytica was using data to create campaigns to influence country elections. And that was, beautiful technology, but used in the wrong way. So when we see generative AI, we need to be very careful on, how we really use in the proper way. And here are the challenge, because the coach is a professional that will have to choose technology, that will need to understand how to incorporate in their coaching practice. The coach will not create technology. The coach will adopt technology and probably find a way to better use it and embed it in the coaching practice. Whatever the coaching is doing, the idea is we need to understand what we are using and how to, serve our clients in the right way.
Absolutely.
Because if we are not choosing the right technology, if we are not careful about if the company that created the technology is not fulfilling or not following, global standards, we are unintentionally probably use a technology that cannot deliver the result that we want, or that can create a risk for the client and for ourselves. So I will say that, following our ethics, following the standard of ethics of the coaching body that we belongs is what should guide our, choices. And definitely that is at least what I'm trying to do, to educate myself. And it's not an easy work.
And especially consent. So if we are using AI anywhere, it's to ensure that we've got the consent of clients to.
Well,
yeah,
definitely that is one of the first things. If we will, intentionally try to use AI, is to disclaim that with the client. In what ways we will use it, how we will apply it, what are the benefits? Because at the end of the day, it's also something, I will use this is in order to serve better you in that way. So we need to educate ourselves and also sometimes, introduce properly to the client. Definitely.
Perfect. Yeah. And then if you imagine one shift that could positively shape the next chapter of coaching, what might that be?
I can imagine so many things. I have the opportunity to give a talk, a webinar about, the technology disrupting coaching practice. It was the last year before generative AI was, getting momentum. And at that moment, I imagined a lot of things. I start talking about coaching 4.0. It's like how we empower coaching, adopting technology. And I see, AI doing a lot of contribution to the evolution of our profession. And when we start exploring or think on evolution, definitely I imagine, I can imagine, the adoption of AI for the education or the mastery of the coach. So how the use of technology can help the coach to become a better coach. I can imagine, how AI can contribute to the process of the coachee, because we talk that the coaching process, there are things that happen within the session and things that happen outside of the session. And the AI can provide the continuum of the connection of the coach with the coachee outside of the coaching session. You can imagine, I have an interesting story. I was, having a client, working through a platform, and was the client who asked me, "Can I turn on my AI?" So it was a surprise. It was the first time that usually I expect to introduce it. No, in this case, was the client say, "Can I turn on my AI for taking note of the session?" And that way. So at some point, I can imagine the eye of the client talking with the eye of the coach and helping each other, to flow in this process. Are following on the actions that the coachee, commit to do it, or different things that could happen, within the session and outside the session. So definitely I imagine evolution of a coach being able to provide more support to the client outside of the coaching session. And of course, this is something that can benefit also the organization. This is something that can benefit, the entire, I would say, the entire practice of coaching. So better coaches, better process, client serve in a better way are scenarios that come to my mind very easily when I start thinking on how this can, evolve. And we are just in the beginning of this amazing, power of technology that AI is bringing to us.
And I imagine with the insights that we'll learn from AI within the coaching profession, it will help us evolve together. I think it's an opportunity for us to stay human, but to guide the profession in ways that it can evolve to being more of what coaching is about, and actually more coaches.
Absolutely. And just to think on different scenarios. Imagine that you are a coach that's just starting in your coaching profession, and you have powerful AI helping you to interpret, for instance, the emotions that are happening in the coachee, just analyzing the face. So, real-time things can happen, and, guiding, helping, a coach to connect in a more human way to the client, just helping the coach to interpret the reactions, the emotions, so there are so many things that I truly believe that we will start seeing as the technology continues evolving. And it's just amazing to think that.
You were mentioning at the start of this conversation about team coaching. So I was just imagining the depth that you could get by AI being present within the team, looking for clues, things that aren't being said, but these non-verbal clues, AI could be picking up on that and helping the team. Yeah. Very exciting.
Very exciting. And you mentioned the collective, a scenario of coaching. I hear already about, I don't remember exactly when I read it. It was an article. I don't know if it was from the MIT or other, organization, academic organization created about the AI at the board, having a seat, being part of a meeting and, in real time, board of director asking the AI about, something. So definitely we are, at the edge of, relevant transformation in how we interact with technology, because having real-time interactions, like you said, when we are in a team coaching, depending of how big is the team, it's a challenge for the coach to really be able to capture everything. And if it's totally different if you are doing this online or if you are doing in a present when you can have a different kind of connection with the team. So definitely having an assistant, an AI assistant, providing support there, I totally believe that could be a great support for the coaching process.
Actually, I did a talk to a board of trustees, and I did introduce AI as part of the discussion. So I used sesame.com, and of course it was live in the room because I was using the voice interaction. And so I was speaking over a speaker so everybody could hear and we could participate with AI. Obviously, I did it from a fun point of view, but actually you could train the AI on your organizational knowledge, and therefore it could be a seat at the board, AI at the table. That would be really interesting. When I worked in customer experience, we used to talk about Amazon having a chair for the customer. So in meetings, there would be a chair, an empty chair to represent the customer. But now they can have AI representing the customer in those meetings.
Totally agree with you. You make me remember when I did my training and team coaching with Professor Peter Hawkins. He has one of the dynamics that we use is, to really to give a seat to the client, or so to hear the voice of the client, and we have to imagine the client sitting in a chair. Right now, we don't need to imagine; we can ask literally, as you said. And it's a really really interesting, different scenarios that we will be able to see AI playing a great job for the coaching process.
Is there anything else you would like to share as we close this conversation?
Well, I will say that I hear a lot of fear around coaching, mostly from people that are not connected, or probably are not familiar with technology. So if I had the opportunity to suggest is, don't be afraid of technology. Just recognize that you need to take time to educate and see how you can leverage technology, because definitely will serve you better than you can imagine. And of course, we have a learning curve. So at the beginning will be more efforts, but when we start gaining, and building confidence on the use of technology, it's amazing what you can achieve for you and for your clients. So I will say that, as everything, as any change of paradigms that we will experience, it's a process. So be open. As a coach, we are always, eager to learn. Well, that is something new we have the opportunity to learn and to adapt to the reality, because the reality is that our clients will use AI. We like it or not. Our clients will invite the AI to the coaching session. We like it or not. So it's a good idea if you can educate yourself and be ready for that, reality that is coming.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Andres. It's been brilliant. And I look forward to working with you more and through the collaboration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Susan. And well, see you in the next